There was an enormous amount of research being done on early childhood, and particularly on the first 3 years of life. And in doing so, it became apparent there's no such thing as a child alone. A child has to have an adult who cares for him. It became very clear to me that if we wanted to really help children develop well from birth, we had to work with their families. You know, I don't really know how I met Irving, but I do know that when we did meet, we were very simpatico in terms of our deep interest in this. And Irving was unusual because he was not in the field. He was a businessman who was attracted to this concept. And my husband was also one, and I talked to both of them, and they encouraged me to and helped to fund me to start Family Focus.
Irving Harris was an innovative, forward-looking individual. And he was curious, and he was compassionate, and I think he got very intrigued about inequality, around poverty, around the cycles of poverty, and what was creating it, and what could he be doing differently, and what was science telling us needed to be done, and that you shouldn't just be successful because of who you're born to, but that every child had the potential to be successful.
We connected over this conviction we both had that if we were going to make a difference for children's development, we had to recognize the importance of the first 3 years. I went, first of all, to the superintendent of schools in Evanston, and I told him about this idea. He said, "Bernice, I want our kids to start kindergarten as prepared as your kids." He got it right away. It was interesting. There was a book at the time that was very popular called Everything You Wanted to Know About Sex But Were Afraid to Ask. We paraphrased that and we blanketed the community with a poster that said everything you wanted to know about parenting but was afraid to ask.
Our plan initially was that we would serve maybe 50 families that first year. We opened up, and that first day, we had a few of the parents coming from the programs that were in the building, but not what we wanted. And then a couple of days later, the floodgates began to open. And we served 350 families that first year. I mean, we were overwhelmed with people.
These were middle-class families. These were families who were living in Evanston and doing well. Every family needed a support system, and in our society, we were not providing that. And we needed to provide that. We needed to recognize that it was not a need for any special group, but it was a requirement to be a good parent. We started off with 2 centers, but today we are in 7 centers in 7 communities. You can go visit any of these centers. They look different because they honestly reflect the community in which they're located, and they reflect the culture of that community.
I think one of the primary program that is in Englewood that is a little different than the other centers is the trauma focus work that we have been doing over the years. Not only do they need the family support services supporting them through having a baby, they may come in where they have been exposed to violence, and that exposure to violence is the reason that we have been providing trauma focused services.
We know that we are making an impact by the deduction in child abuse and neglect, that there's fewer calls to DCFS.
One of the statistics that we boast about is that after a year of service through Family Focus, only 1% of families re-engage with DCFS as opposed to a 30% rate statewide.
I think what Family Focus does so well is that it's in communities in an authentic way, and it's in a way that is saying, we want to be responsive to what you tell us you need, rather than what we think you need. And by doing that, they've created real trust with their community partners in a way that I think leads to real success.
We started off with the intent of hiring community people, because we wanted to have people that the children would be familiar with, and we wanted to be part of the community.
Isela is an amazing person. She works very hard. Since I hired her to be part of my team in Nixon Elementary.
The first time I think I came to Family Focus when I was 5 years old.
When she was my student, Family Focus, I always seen her how she was able to help out all the students, her classmates. She was kind of like my student star. I seen that in her leadership, her role. I see her like a good teacher.
She is now an employee. It's a real full circle example of what we do at Family Focus.
And when kids come to me, it reminds me of what I went through and how I overcame it with the support, the staff members I had. And it's like I get to be that role model to them. I get to be that staff member to them, and I get to tell them it's gonna be okay. You're gonna get through this. I'm here. We're here for you. I think if it wasn't for being in this program, for meeting the people who I know today, for having their support, I don't think I would have the position that I have today. Family Focus has helped me a lot.
In some communities like Family Focus Nuestra Familia and Family Focus Aurora, we serve a large immigrant population. So if we're doing home visits to a family, we ensure that we're speaking the family's language. We ensure that if there's a family member that needs immigration services or support, we can provide those services to them. That might not be something that's present in one of our other centers because that may not be a pressing need in that specific community.
I think we really have to work on public policy that recognizes that every community needs to have a family support center, like they have a park, like they have a library, like they have a recreational center. They need to have a family support center. If you get to families early on and help parents to feel confident about themselves and communicate that confidence to their kids, you can really make a difference. And I think we do that. I really think we do that.